When you're living through uncertain times, and I think it's fair to say that we are, having some physical metals in your possession outside of the financial system is a nice insurance policy. But all bullion is not created equal, and there's a lot to choose from when it comes to stacking gold, silver, and even other metals. So today, we're going to go over some of the most popular and also some of the more obscure types of bullion products available to stackers, and we'll talk about some of the pros and cons of each, and why having a diverse precious metal stack is probably a good idea, and how it can give you some flexibility. So stick around, because we're going to have some fun talking shop about stacking. Let's get to it. Hey everybody, Smart Silver Stacker here. I would like to say a big thank you to you for tuning into today's video. If you enjoy it and you get some value from it, please do give it a big thumbs up down below, and while you're at it, why not subscribe to the channel? Alright, so let's start off with one of the slightly more obscure bullion products out there, and that is platinum. Now, it's really only a very small percentage of the population that holds physical silver in any quantity, and it's a much tinier percentage, I'm sure, that is holding any significant amount of platinum. And there's good reason for that. Platinum does not have the same long monetary history that gold and silver do, but that's not because it doesn't share the properties that gold and silver have that make them so useful as money. It's really just because platinum hasn't been around that long. The process to extract and purify platinum really wasn't perfected until the 18th century. And so as far as precious metals go, it is a relative newcomer, but it is still an incredibly useful metal. It has a lot of industrial uses as a catalyst, and one of the biggest things platinum and other platinum group metals like palladium have going for them from a stacking perspective is that there's just not very much of this stuff. If you were to take all of the gold ever mined by mankind, it would fill up about 4 Olympic swimming pools. But platinum? All of the platinum ever produced would only come up to your ankles in one pool. And as we all know, the price of a commodity ultimately depends on two things: supply and demand. And what the relatively tiny supply of platinum means is that any uptick in demand can really move the price a lot. And when it comes to stacking physical platinum, you can go for 1-ounce coins like this Platinum Eagle, and then there's also generic 1-ounce bars that are available for slightly lower premiums. But I personally would stick to the 1-ounce size products because the smaller fractional bars and coins tend to have much higher premiums attached to them. Another thing platinum has going for it at the moment is that the price is very low today compared to recent history. If you go back to 2008, an ounce of platinum was trading for more than twice the price of an ounce of gold. But today, the tables have turned, and the price is close to half of that of gold. So for the value-minded stacker out there, adding a sprinkling of platinum to one stack at today's prices is pretty appealing. And while I do view platinum as a more speculative investment than either gold or silver, the potential for a massive return does exist. Just look at the price chart for rhodium, another platinum group metal, that experienced a massive squeeze and more than 30x appreciation in price from 2017 to 2021. Also, if we take a look at this data from Statista, you can see that South Africa and Russia control the vast majority of the world's platinum production. And at a time when the BRICS nations, which include both South Africa and Russia, are more and more at odds with the West, the possibility of a major supply shortage is a very real risk. And then at the other end of the spectrum, from the more obscure platinum, we have gold, probably the most widely recognized metal you can stack. Gold has a long history as hard money. It's a very compact store of value, and it is an asset that central banks continue to hold in reserve to this day. And when it comes to stacking gold, there's a lot to choose from. To start off with the basics and the most popular gold products among stackers, we have coins and bars. Something like this pre-1933 $10 gold eagle is nice if you want to have a piece of history, but the gold content of 0.4838 troy ounces may seem a little arbitrary by modern standards. If you want something a little more uniform in keeping with the times, the Mint's current issue of gold eagles might be more up your alley. This is a 1/10 ounce gold eagle, and this coin, along with its 1-ounce big brother, is probably the most recognizable form of gold bullion you can stack these days, especially here in the US. But you've got to pay for that recognition, as premiums on these coins have gone up significantly in recent times. Today, even for a 1-ounce gold eagle, you may have to pay as much as $200 over the spot price of gold. So if you just want to get the most gold for your money, Something like this generic gold bar is something you might want to take a look at. In my personal opinion, gold is gold after all, so in today's environment of rising premiums, generic gold bullion would have to be my personal first choice. But that is not all when it comes to gold. You've also got some newer stuff like these Goldbacks, which take fractional gold to a whole new level. Each one of these 1 Goldback notes contains 1/1000th of a troy ounce of gold, atomically layered between two tough layers of polymer. So if you want some gold that you can spend for everyday purchases, or possibly for bartering following the collapse of the financial system, Goldbacks are worth taking a look at. It's important to note that premiums on Goldbacks are very high. Typically, they'll go for about double the spot price of gold. But the good thing is that there is a very liquid secondary market for these things, and so at least for now, you can sell these and get the premium back with little difficulty. And then finally, gold's compact nature and high density of value makes 24 karat gold jewelry like this ring from Mene a fantastic option if you want some wealth that you can wear. Without weighing yourself down too much, you can adorn yourself with thousands of dollars worth of hard money and carry it with you wherever you want with relative ease. And while I do like those other metals just fine, after all, I am the smart silver stacker, and we're going to talk about several types of silver bullion today. But first, if you are a silver stacker, you understand the importance of holding wealth outside of traditional paper investments. You are also likely aware of the risks posed by inflation and a devaluing currency, and if you are watching this video, you understand the importance of diversification. To one of the greatest investors of all time, Ray Dalio, diversification means investing in a variety of assets that are uncorrelated from one another. And if you like the idea of an inflation hedge that is uncorrelated from stocks, bonds, cryptocurrencies, and even your precious metals, then an asset that should be on your radar is blue chip art. Billionaires have been quietly diversifying their portfolios with art for years now, but this unique market has been relatively inaccessible to the public because the minimum investment in a truly valuable piece of art is likely to be very high and outside the reach of all save the very wealthy. But today's sponsor, Masterworks, is changing all of that. With over 500,000 registered users, Masterworks is democratizing the art market by allowing anyone to buy and sell fractional shares in high-value works of art. Like gold and silver, art is a store of wealth that has stood the test of time for centuries. And the last time inflation was this high, contemporary art appreciated more than even gold, at an incredible 33% per year on average. And when inflation isn't rampant, it's still appreciated 13.5% per year for the last 25 years, even beating the S&P 500. And Masterworks makes investing in art simple. Their team of art experts does the research for you and purchases pieces of art they believe will appreciate in value. Members can buy and sell shares, and when Masterworks sells the art, the returns are distributed to investors. Even as recently as August, Masterworks sold a painting for a 33.1% net return to their investors. So, if you would like to explore additional ways to diversify your portfolio and hedge against inflation, use the link down in the description to check out Masterworks. It helps support the channel, and remember, no investment is risk-free, so as always, make sure you are doing your own due diligence. Okay, so now on to the part of the stack that I truly love, silver. One of the reasons that I like to stack this stuff so much is that it's very inexpensive at the moment relative to historical standards. Take one look at the gold to silver ratio chart, and you can see that it's not a stretch at all to call silver significantly undervalued relative to gold. And there are many silver bullion products out there to cover, but today I'll show you a few of my personal favorites. First of all, the US Silver Eagle. This is like the gold standard of silver bullion, if you take my meaning. Easily the most recognized silver bullion coin in North America, the US Mint has been producing these since 1986. Each coin contains 1 troy ounce of 0.999 fine silver, and for many stackers, these make up the core of their stack. However, at the moment, I'm not so keen on stacking these because the premiums have absolutely exploded over the past couple years. In order to get your hands on one of these, you might be paying 40 to 50% over the current spot price of silver, and the fact that there are much lower premium options available means I'm steering clear of these for the time being. And here we've got a silver maple leaf from the Royal Canadian Mint. These are also quite well recognized, and these are a good choice if you want a sovereign coin, but you don't want to pay out the nose for the premiums on Eagles. Even so, however, the premiums on these have risen recently as well, so there are still some better options if you just want to get the most metal for your money. That's where these come in. Big silver bars. 1 kilo or 100-ounce bricks of silver. Which one do you go with? Well, I guess it depends on how you feel about the metric system, because the premiums on these are pretty close. And if you want to simply get the most silver bullion for your money today, these are the things to stack. And then in between, there are bars like this 20-ounce bar and this 10-ounce bar, and these are a good choice if you want something slightly more divisible, but you don't want to get clobbered on the premiums. And I will say, these smaller bars are probably one of the most satisfying to stack, like these 10-ounce Scottsdale silver bars that have this nice machined lip, which keeps them stacked up nice and pretty. And there's also generic rounds, of course, and these come in all sorts of varieties. And if you like the idea of a coin, but you don't really care what mint they come from, this is something you probably want to take a look at. And then finally, we have another personal favorite, junk silver. Also known as constitutional silver, these are US silver coins minted 1964 and earlier. These coins are made of an alloy of 90% silver, 10% copper, which makes them a little bit more durable for circulation, because that is what these coins were designed to do. And when I started stacking a little over a decade ago, junk silver was one of the most affordable ways to get your hands on some silver. You could usually buy it right at spot, sometimes even below spot, but that has all changed. And as the supply of these coins continues to diminish and demand continues to grow, the premiums have risen to close to 30% over spot. Now, that is good news for anybody holding this stuff, but it might make some stackers a little hesitant. But for me, this is one form of bullion that I'm okay paying a higher premium for, because I believe that the premium on these old US coins will continue to rise, because they're not making them anymore, and they haven't made them in 6 decades, and someday, each and every one of these coins may fetch a near numismatic premium. Okay, and to wrap things up, we have got some honorable mentions here for stackable metal. First off, we've got pre-1982 copper pennies, which can still be found abundantly in circulation, but which contain copper worth more than double their face value. But if you don't feel like sorting through a bunch of change to pull these guys out, you can still buy boxes of US nickels at your local bank, and these also contain metal more valuable than their face value. Each nickel is composed of 25% nickel and 75% copper, and at the time I'm recording this, their melt value is about 5.5 cents. Doesn't sound like much, but when you consider that they'll never drop in price below their face value, this is a very low-risk way to get your hands on some physical metal. And if you think that sounds a bit crazy, I'm not the only one thinking this. Hedge fund manager Kyle Bass picked up a warehouse full of US nickels a little over a decade ago. And while he was clearly a little early to the party, I just want to point out that it's not just YouTubers who like to stack nickels. And finally, if you just want some pure base metal bullion, you can always grab yourself some old Canadian 5-cent pieces, which are composed of 99.9% pure nickel. And that wraps it up for today, folks. Those are several ways that you can diversify your stack and your holdings of physical metals. Let me know what you're doing to diversify your stack in the comments down below, and I will catch you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay safe and happy stacking, and I'll catch you next time. Smart Silver Stacker, out.